Video marketing is just hitting record? Think again. If your content isn't getting the clicks, clients, or cash, it's not the algorithm, it's probably your approach. On this week's Profit with a Plan, we're exposing why business videos flop and how to turn your camera into a client generating machine. Whether you're repurposing podcasts, posting reels, or building a YouTube channel, this conversation will challenge everything you thought you knew about video marketing. So don't waste another post. Listen to this podcast before you hit record again. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help you scale smarter, increase profitability, and build a business that's worth more, whether you keep it or you sell it. I'm Marcia Riner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. I've helped countless entrepreneurs to turn their businesses into highly profitable and sale ready assets so they can enjoy more income now and a bigger payday later. Join me for practical strategies, expert insights, and proven steps to make your business more profitable, more valuable, and built to last. Today's episode is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where we don't just talk profit, we deliver it. But before we dive in, I've got something special for you. If you're a business owner who's tired of overcomplicated, overpriced marketing strategies that just don't deliver, listen up. What if there was a simple, affordable way to market your business that actually works? Well, the Profit Booster Marketing Hub is your all-in-one marketing system built specifically for busy business owners who want real results without hiring a full team or wrestling with tech. It's automated and intuitive. It comes loaded with pre-designed templates, a CRM, social media tools, email, text automation, and a whole lot more. It's everything you need to capture, nurture, and close leads. So if you're ready for a low-cost, easy-to-use marketing system that gets the job done, visit profitbooster.biz and let's make your marketing way more profitable. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Josh Troche, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I was going to ask before we got started, so I'm butchering it, is a seasoned video strategist and content creator with over 2 decades of experience spanning sales, tech, and digital media. As the founder of Pedal Stomper Productions, he's helped hundreds of companies from scrappy startups to international brands launch high-impact podcasting programs that drive real marketing results. With a YouTube following over 19,000 plus and multiple videos topping 1 million views, Josh knows what it takes to capture attention and convert it into action. He also shares his expertise as a creator and instructor of a business-focused podcasting course at Cuyahoga Community College, where he empowers entrepreneurs and marketers to master video as a powerful tool for visibility, connection, and growth. Hi, Josh. Sorry for butchering your name. Give me your name. Your last
That is
name.
not the first nor the last time that has happened. It
Well,
is
and I get Marcia all the time, even though it's Marcia. So I'm with you on
I
that.
I figured that you would have the empathy there. It's Troche, so if you spelled it
Roki,
phonetically,
I was out of the ballpark on that.
yeah, but it's not the worst I've gotten. So kudos for the effort there. Definitely kudos for the effort.
Thanks. It was like, dang, I was going to ask that in the beginning. And as I'm reading your intro, I'm like, ah, shit. So, yeah,
It
right.
happens. I love it. I love it. It's
You know
natural. It's
what?
authentic.
That's the beautiful thing about podcasting. I don't edit. I just go with it, and we have great conversations and some bloopers as we go along as well.
Act.
Crazy.
It's funny. It's one of the things that I often talk about people when it comes to podcasting, videos, stuff like that. It's authentic. And I mean, yours is obviously ridiculously authentic without the editing, without the other stuff, because and people get to know, like, and trust you rather than this somewhat fake, somewhat curated, somewhat like, they don't act that way. It's authenticity. I love it.
I'm not recommending that anybody goes back because, I've got 20 videos, episodes live, but my first 30, I was like, "Hi, welcome to Profit." My girlfriend goes, "Who the F is that?" It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But, I agree. I think in any video that we're doing, we really wanna represent ourselves naturally, right? And not come off as some, like, robot AI geek thing or some supermodel or a professional, actor when that's not who we are.
No, and I love the fact that you referenced your first 30 videos there
They were
because
horrible. They were so
I
bad.
I have talked about this, and I forget who said this initially, but it's don't be afraid to suck.
Oh,
Because
right?
you will, and until you've built you have to suck in order to get better, and then what I mean, as you put in those reps, you will start to get better. I mean, I did not sound like this, I did not appear like this the first time I was on video. It was awkward, it was terrible, I looked like a baby giraffe that had just been born, like, all knock-kneed. It was bad. So, yeah, that authenticity is just beautiful.
You know, um, I think I think with today's marketing efforts, content must be in video. It really must be to attract the attention of the hyper short attention span of the audiences, right? And if it's words, it's a couple of words, right? And if it's a video, it's to the point and catchy and something that attracts them to stop scrolling. Whether it's someone said about getting dogs on their videos that are falling down the stairs, right? You as soon as you watch one, you have to sit there for the next 10 minutes and watch the rest of them and giggling and laughing. But how do we I mean, the big question is how do we translate that into business when a lot of us, me included, are very business driven and therefore all my stuff, all my content is 99.9% business.
It's interesting you bring that up, and it's there's a couple of things that I'll say to it. Is one is I don't feel that attention spans have changed, and I know that that's gonna be an odd take on it. The reason why I say that is when I teach that podcasting class, everyone's like, "Yeah, we've got no attention spans anymore." I said, "Right. Who's binged Netflix for 8 hours?" And
Exactly.
everyone in the class raises their hand, and I'm like, "Okay, well, if you can binge Netflix for 8 hours, obviously, it may not be attention span." Now, what has changed is I remember growing up, and I'm from the Cleveland area, is we had channels 3, 5, 8, 19, and if the clouds are right, maybe you had 43. We had 5 options. Today, you have almost infinite options. So if something's when I was a kid, if it sucked, you still watched it anyways because there was 4 other channels that sucked worse. Um, Today there's something out there that's gonna be of interest for you that next swipe. And to me, what becomes difficult then is people are like, "Well, oh, I've gotta compete in this attention economy."
Mm,
What so many people make the mistake of is they want everyone's attention. Find out who is your specific audience. Who is that one person that would love to hear from you and speak directly to them? Because if you're speaking to everyone,
you're
you're
speaking to
just going to
me.
get swiped. But if you speak to that one person and you start out with that one thing that that one person really wants to hear, okay, now we're on to something. Then the algorithm says, "Oh, well, if person A liked it, well, person B swiped on the one of the same things that person A swiped on or liked that. So let's show it to person B." So it will start to build you that audience of the exact people you want. So this is the business aspect of it is it's really so many people like I want everyone to be my client. I want everyone to be my customer. And we've all made that mistake of like, "Hey, I'm gonna talk to everyone," and really you end up
Right.
talking to no one. Um,
Exactly. That's that
Pick your
typical
person.
dentist that says, "Oh, I work with anybody that has teeth." And you're like, "Oh, okay." Right?
It it's
Yeah, what problem
100%.
do you solve for those people with teeth? And I think that it's that fear base that they're afraid they're gonna miss out if they drill down super tight, that they're gonna miss the guy, but, the guy standing next to him, but, you know, like you said, the algorithm knows better than we do, or is going to
It
roll
does.
it the way we do, whether we like it or not.
The other example that I would like to give people is I say, stick yourself in a room of 100 people and then just start talking. There's going to be a few people that are going to look at you like you're the crazy person that you are. But really, no one's going to pay any attention to you. Now, if you go say something to one person that they find really, really interesting, and you keep talking to that person, are other people probably going to be like, oh, that looks like an interesting conversation? And they will start to listen in. Yes, the conversation isn't directly intended for them, but they're going to be like, oh, that's pretty interesting. That's good information. So, like I said, if you try and speak to everyone in the room is going to be like, what's that crazy dude saying? If you speak to one person, other people will start to listen in, and those will inevitably, hopefully, be your clients as long as you've done this with intention.
What a perfect analogy of of being in a room with 100 people, right? And talking to well, yesterday I did this while looking at you
Right.
like you're crazy. But then it's true. You go have an engaging conversation with one person, other people attract to it.
The only thing that sucks is that's difficult is you have to realize that I need to start with one person. And
Mhm.
we see 100 people in the room. We wanna talk to all of them. All of these people are mine. It's the bad insurance salesman. It's the bad wealth manager at a networking event that's floating around the room talking to everyone like, "You? Do you have money? Do you have money? Do you have money?" No, no, we're all business owners. None of us have money. Is
Exactly.
is it but if they talk to one person and really have that good conversation and give that person good information, other people will come over.
Mm, love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question because I think it's really important. How in the world did you get so many followers and then hit those million views?
There was a couple of ways. So a lot of that was when I was working with the semi truck dealership. I stuck in a very specific niche. I noticed that mainly it was a one specific type of truck, a truck that was it was a single cab or a sleeper. Typically, the trucks that truckers would dream about were the ones that I found a really good niche in. I would do dump trucks, and those views would flop and stuff like that. So I found a very specific niche to talk about things in, and I talked about what like the bits of the truck that made that truck better, help them solve their problems better, the fuel mileage, and I mean, let's face it too, there in this case, it was a lot of truckers. They wanted chrome. So we talked about some of that too. So we talked about the pain points, those
So you
items.
created a channel that was very specific as you originally said, right?
Exactly it. It was geared towards people. Then what I did is once I found my audience and figured out who my audience was, I knew a lot of them were some of the old school truck drivers. And in that, what made the channel blow up is I knew I needed to talk about something that was a little bit controversial. Um, there was many truck drivers, and I say this in jest, that feel like they like a manual transmission. And the analogy I made is so many truck drivers felt like if you removed the stick from in between the seats, you removed the stick from in between their legs. So in saying that, I compared an automated transmission with a manual transmission, and I was honest about it. I showed all the numbers and said, "Look, guys, they do the same thing." And of course, the comment section just went bananas. No, they can't. Blah blah blah, and that's what had
Ah.
done it. So it was finding a controversial point is what made things blow up. The other thing that I found, the other video that I had that had the million views was a new product where people were interested in it. They wanted to find out about it. And once again, I made sure it was very specific to my audience.
Mm.
It was a big deal. So in doing that, I made sure that I was talking to directly to the people, and really, I had enough videos out at that point in time that I knew what they wanted to know about this. So it was taking the time to answer their specific questions about the truck, not like pretty truck. What does it do well? What does it do even better? Because it's always good, better, best when you're talking about your own products.
Mhm.
What does it do well? What does it do really well, and what does it do so well that you're gonna need a nap afterwards?
Love it. Okay, so wow, I can completely, and I know the audience is with me, can completely see and visualize the story and the case around the truck drivers driving the
Yep.
stick and then going into an automatic and, the bells and whistles and the value and how much gas savings and, ease and all the other stuff that they could do it. But it kind of scares me to think about how I would do that with my product, or if we go to an attorney or a dentist or a bakery, whatever kind of company in the lower range that could take their their specialty, their knowledge base and their niche and drive it down in a way that you can really develop that kind of audience of people that know you're the truck guy and to have something blow up like a gear shift.
What's interesting about it is when you say, like, the lawyer and things of that nature, there's I mean, any
There
niche out there, there is I mean, there is a YouTuber that's huge about it. And what
mhm.
I always tell people is a lot of people are like, "Well, I wanna monetize my YouTube channel." Um, what I tell a lot of them is, "No, you don't," because we had 19,000 subscribers, we would get 10 to 15,000 views a month, and I would make $175 for spending 3 to 4 days on videos. So I'm like, "No, that's not the key." The
So
key is yeah,
monetizing to me doesn't mean sponsorship and being paid by Facebook and Instagram
right.
or YouTube channel in that minds. Monetizing in in my mind and what I do with my monetization hub and my podcast monetization hub is to see how you can drive customers from it. Are your podcast guest appearances leading to real business, or are you just hoping that listeners will take action? With the Profit Booster Podcast Monetization Hub, we turn your interviews into lead generating machines so that you capture, nurture, and convert listeners into paying clients. So stop leaving money on the table and get started today at profitboosterpod.com.
Exactly, and it's something that I just talked with a client that we just picked up on the podcast side. I'm like, Let's talk about your goals here. Do you want 10,000 followers or do you want 100 customers?" And they're like, "I want 10,000 followers." I'm like, "No, you want 100 customers." And we had an argument about it, and I'm like, "Look, if we have 1,000 followers and 100 of those people are writing you checks every week, you're doing pretty good."
You're doing great. You're doing great.
So yeah,
Sign me
it's
up.
right, and it's the other thing that I always like to tell people too, like, if you have a smaller audience, something that I always love telling people when it comes to podcasting, especially when you first start out, I'm like, "So look, if I told you there's 8 people in that room that wanted to hear from you, that, like, are interested in what you're talking about, would you go in that room and talk to them?" They're like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
why aren't you gonna post the video then? Why aren't you gonna do the podcast?" And to me, it's that building. The problem is everyone sees I guess I'll make a sports analogy. They see baseball players hitting a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and they think, "Ah, I can do that. He's just swinging a bat." And then, boy, you throw me a 40-mile-an-hour pitch, and I'm gonna have a tough time even seeing it. Uh,
Right. Right.
so they see these big inflated numbers from some influencers, and they think that's where I need to be successful. You can
Mm.
have 100 followers, 100 subscribers, and be wildly successful if that turns into 10 customers that are gonna come back to you every single week.
Well pointed out. Well said. And I think that's it. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? The guy down the
Yep.
street that has the perfect lawn and the manicured, artwork and here I got weeds and stuff like that. I mean, we're always trying to be something bigger, better, faster, stronger but in reality, I mean, I'm all about profitability. So, I mean, if my base costs are $100 and I'm making $1,000, I'm really profitable, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter how many zeros are behind that. It's just if it's moving in the positive direction that you want it to, and your expenses are covered, right? And I think that that's where we forget, and like you said, we strive off of some crazy influencer or unicorn, right, that knocked
Right.
it out. As a perfect example, I'm a big AI geek, and, the guy from Base 44, an Israeli kid, had his company with 5 employees and only ran it for, like, 6 or 8 months and sold it for, like, multi-billions. Because he had something that was fantastic in a new market, and it worked and hit, right? That's a unicorn, folks. That's not
Yes.
gonna happen to any of us, right? Or probably won't
No.
happen to any of us.
The other thing I like that you said is talking about the profitability.
Mm,
Looking at who your target audience is big because your target audience may not be big. You and I both know, I mean, I work with a ton of different business owners on stuff. We both know businesses that gross I mean, they gross $100,000 a year and their net is $80,000 a year. We also know businesses that gross 1.5 million that net a negative $100,000. I
yep.
mean, we both know that. So great. There was 1.5 million dollars worth of stuff that came through our place. We didn't make any
And
money.
right out the back door.
Right. So that those I always like to warn people about those vanity metrics.
Mm.
The likes, they're nice to see. Oh, hey, 4 people like me, and one of them wasn't even my mom. Is those vanity metrics are so easy to get hung
But
up
they
on.
you can't make money off of those vanity metrics, right? You
Correct.
and that's why I always try and bring people when you're doing your videos, right? What is your goal, right?
Exactly.
Um, I'm looking for visibility. Okay, maybe it's an intro video that you're gonna bring them through something, but you know that video's not gonna close the sale for you. You're hoping that they'll get into your circle so you could then nurture them, or maybe it's video 1 and that you want them the goal is to have them watch video 2, right? Or video 3. You gotta have some sort of a direction with this. You don't just hit record and go, "Hi."
Right.
It doesn't.
No, it's for us, one of the first questions when we sit down on a larger video project with someone, we always say, "What's the goal?" I mean, is it top of funnel? Is it to create awareness? Well, then, okay, we're gonna talk in very general terms. Is
Sure.
this trying to get someone over the finish line? Then, okay, we're gonna talk about those final, like, very highly technical pain points because it's a different spot in the funnel.
Exactly.
Makes a huge difference.
It does, and I think that's where we and I think video can do all of the sales parts in it from something as simple as a video message to a lead that's already in your funnel that you're trying to move them towards an appointment date to a brand awareness video that says, "Oh, we're this is what we do and this is who we are," right? But I think that having a mixture of those video pieces um in your pocket, in your repertoire, is incredibly important. What other videos do you think that most companies need to have if they're just trying to now focus on video rather than just throwing stuff and spaghetti against the wall?
There's a lot of spaghetti to throw there. And sometimes the spaghetti hits the fan, as we shall say. To me, it, so many people don't have a plan for what they're trying to do. If you're just going to do one video and you've got 3 or 4 different product lines, whatever, to me, it's good to have that just baseline. Here's who we are, and here's overall why you should order from us.
Mm,
Now, if you're going to have individual product videos, those will typically, for me, I like to call those the more technical ones. Sometimes as a salesperson, you don't always get the chance to say, look, this can save you this amount or that can save you that amount, but you can do that in a video.
mm,
These video so if you can do a video for each product, now we can talk about these things on an individual basis. How does this help you, Mr. Client? How is this going to, I mean, what pain point does this solve for you? So those are the ones where, once again, and the more further down the funnel you are, the more technical you can get.
right.
Um, if someone just wants to do a video, and I typically suggest for a lot of companies, look, do that one video that tells, I mean, a bit of your origin story, that tells a bit of like what makes your company unique. And I mean, this goes back to when you talked about the baker, the lawyer, I mean, the best lawyers are the ones that realize that not everyone is their client. There's people out there that just, I mean, aren't going to work well together. There's people that
Mm,
I 100%, they will call and be like, hey, I want to do a
mm,
podcast and they want to do
nope.
this, and I'm like, no, we're not the right firm. So it's giving those people that, like, hey, look, here's the high level why we are wonderful to work with.
Mm. So when you're looking at those kind of videos, why we're wonderful to work with, that's the one where you put in the production team, right? But then when you're talking about like product updates or whatever, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Of course, you'd love to have the high end production, but a lot of us don't have the budget for that. So that could be your what do you go what GoPro or your
Yep.
phone, right? That can do the quicker, shorter videos. How are audiences accepting those videos? Does it have to be in that kind of framework?
What we found with those is what the audience wants is they want the personality.
Mm,
If you look at the top like videos that are doing well in those realms and the ones that are effective in those realms, yeah, they are 100% the ones where it is the personality that reflects the product, it reflects the values, and it reflects your target customer. I always tell
mm,
people, I'm like, typically, like when it comes to the podcasting, I mean, your target audience typically looks, I mean, it's whoever you see in the mirror. Um, I'm probably going to talk the best to middle-aged men and maybe slightly lower. Um, I'm not going to probably get a bunch of 60-year-old women that want to listen to me talk about business or marketing or anything like
sure.
that. So it's finding someone that really fits that and let them interject some of their personality. If you're a very
Mm.
buttoned up law firm, then great. Have your most buttoned up person kind of become the personality for that. If
And
you
do you
are
want button-up law firm type of clients, or do you have the guy that got the DUI, or do you have the guy
right,
that just crashed into somebody's car? And, I mean, there's all sorts of attorneys, right? And there's all sorts of clients
exactly.
for that. And I think it goes back to our beginning conversation that if you know your ideal customer and you're talking to one person in the room,
Yep.
then you're going to connect and have that conversation be meaningful. Whether it's on video or on the phone or in person, it's the same thing. I think video is just allowing us to get out there faster and farther.
It really is. I talk about this a lot. Is it's building that know, like, and trust.
Mm.
There's always a sales process, and people need to know, they need to like you, and they need to trust that, like, hey, if I give you my credit card numbers, you're not sending it to a Nigerian prince. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna get something of value in return.
Right.
So it's building that, and the personality that is gonna do the videos is what's really gonna help build that.
But we don't have to be a dancing bear or,
No,
have something crazy. We can be professional and have it as long as we're authentic with it, right? Because that second
exactly.
factor is like.
Yeah, it is, and it's that the problem is you cannot, I mean, unless you're a trained actor and you're always gonna be Heath Ledger in character during the Batman movie, it's not gonna be something that people can keep up, and there's always something that, look, people can see you, that they're gonna know that it's not you, and, they'll figure it out. They will figure it out. So, yeah, it's that authenticity that builds that know, like, and trust, and realize you have to be okay realizing that there are going to be people out there in the US. There's what, 350 million or whatever of us now. There's probably going to be 4 or 5 of them that aren't going to like you.
Only 4 or 5? I think there'll be quite a few more than that, but yes, 4 or 5, 4 or 500,000,000 or whatever.
Correct,
Um,
correct.
yeah, okay, cool, I like that. So, when we wanna use video, right, we've talked a lot of theories about making good videos, which is what I'm taking out of this, what makes a good video, right? Um, if we can kind of wrap the story with how often, how much, what kind of videos do we really need to have in our bank to make it go, right? And how often, I mean, because I don't want to be the one that's got the phone taking the pictures of the food and then going, oh, look at me, I got food right here. And I mean, I want quality, but I don't necessarily want quantity. But then yet everybody says you got to have quantity.
It the missing piece to that is strategy.
Mm,
Why are you doing this? I mean, the podcasting class that I teach, we go through it and everyone walks out with what I like to call their podcasting Bible. They have a guide. Who is their target audience? What is their podcast about? And I tell them, read that before you set up and before you record every episode. Do the same thing with any sort of video marketing that you're going to do. Realize what are we trying to accomplish with this? Who is this aimed at? If you think of those two things, just push record with those two things in mind. And like we said, the first 30 videos are going to just be awful. Um, but be okay with that.
yeah.
Release them on a platform that you don't care as much about. And then really, I mean, there's platforms where your audience probably isn't. Release them on those platforms first. Use that as your test bed, but then start to build and you'll see you'll fall into a groove, especially 20, 30 videos in. You'll figure out where you should be.
It's like building a muscle, right? You get in
Yep,
and you just start doing the reps. Love it.
exactly it.
Love it. Well, Josh, this was fun. I mean, it's really, video is so prominent in everything that we do these days. It's nice to have a refreshing view on it, to be able to say, okay, here's what you need to do to make your videos good that can go viral, right? And it can be about business, and it doesn't have to be the dancing bear or whatever, that does it. You can have business videos that can go viral if you do the right work and ask yourself the right questions. So
100%.
so
The biggest thing to real quick with that is add value. If
Yep,
you add value, you're gonna be fine.
love it. So where can listeners find out more about you and how they can get their videos be a little bit better?
Uh, pedalstomperproductions.com is our website. We've also got a newsletter, typically comes out every week with the podcast and other items that we do. Our newsletter, I very much gear it towards there is a bit of value in it. This is not me spamming the bejabbers out of everyone. This is me offering a genuine tip to everyone. So I encourage everyone to go sign up. Also, you can check out at Pedal Stomper Productions on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, it's what we do, so we're kind of on all the platforms, and, yeah, also check me out or Pedal Stopper Productions on LinkedIn.
Love it. Love it. Well, just to let you know, everybody, pedal stumpers means that he rides a bicycle, right?
I used to race bicycles, yes, and, I was known for stomping the pedals in sprints.
Nice, nice. Perfect. Well, I love when we can add a little flair to our business, right? From something of our personal life. So I'm glad you chose that name. So that's a good
For
one.
sure.
All right,
Thanks a
listeners.
bunch, this is fun.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you picked up some valuable insights and actionable ideas that can help you make your business more profitable. And if you remember, if you're overtired, or if you're tired of overpriced marketing that's complicated and time consuming, my Profit Booster Marketing Hub is your low cost, easy to use alternative to expensive strategies, complete with automation templates and a personalized strategy call. Go get the details at profitbooster.biz. And don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows. You can always find Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast platforms. We're looking forward to more great profitable strategies on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Josh. This was fun.
Definitely was. Thank you.